Trevor, always a pleasure to have you on. Welcome back to our show.
Thanks, Shawn.
And what we're going to talk about today is let's talk about KForce first. KForce is vitamin D, and we've talked about the importance of vitamin D and vitamin K2. And we've sold it for quite a few years in our pharmacy now. I think it was recent, a study that was published that you shared with me. So let's talk about KForce.
Right. Yeah. So KForce is just our unique name at Orthomolecular for a very, very common combination, as you know, Shawn, which is vitamin D3, 5,000 units, a typical dose that someone could take every day as a supplement, with vitamin K2. But what not a lot of people understand is there's different variations of vitamin K. And so there's K1, which is found heavily in fruits and vegetables, and it does have a RDA, or a percentage that we should consume on a nutrition facts box. The one that's not on there is no RDA, and more or less people are unaware of, is the other version of vitamin K, which is K2, and preferably as MK7. So there's a lot of Ks, there's a lot of things going on here, but the point is that K2 is found heavily in fermented foods. And when you examine the American diet, it's almost absent. And so, yes, you'll get a good amount of K1 from your fruits and vegetables, so you're doing great, and you think you're doing great on your vitamin K status. But unless you're eating natto, which a lot of people don't even know what natto is. I didn't know until a couple years ago. Fermented soy, that's found heavily in the Japanese culture, but unless you're eating these fermented foods and cheeses, especially the fermented healthy cheeses, you're not getting adequate K2. So why does that matter? K2 is a transporter vitamin. So in order for our proteins in our body to take calcium and put it where it's supposed to go, which is the bone, not to calcify in our vessels, it relies on one vitamin, which is vitamin K2. So that's something that we need to supplement. Well, unless you're eating a very fermented diet, you should consider supplementing it, because it's virtually absent from our diet, but it is required to move calcium. And so a lot of people use it as a two-prong approach. Cardiovascular health, because you want soft, elastic vessels that open and close without calcifying. And then you also want tough bones, bone mineral density. And so in order for you to have a healthy heart and the healthy bones, you do need to make sure that you have adequate K2 as MK7. And so that is, at Orthomolecular, we have the exclusive on K2, which is why it says Mena Q7 Pro in the bottle. So often when you're using a supplement, just because it says vitamin K, that doesn't mean that you're using something that was used in a study. So a big priority at Orthomolecular is using the exclusive raw material that was used in 22 human clinical trials with a patent for heart health and bone health. So that is why we supplement K2. That's what K2 does. And then when deciding what K2 to take, you want to use the one that's been used in clinical trials.
That's awesome, Trevor. As always, I appreciate your education, and I learn something every time. So thank you so much for that.
Appreciate it, Shawn.